Hello, good evening, and welcome to Pulse of the Week on NSG News, the midweek edition with yours truly, Kofi, Asante, Mensah. This is the program that unpacks stories that matter most to you, shaping the headlines, sparking conversations, and demanding attention across the Republic of Ghana. These are the burning issues of the week, from flooding threats and violent clashes to aviation safety, election battles, and political rhetoric. Stay tuned as we break it all down. Stay with us here on NSG News, and we'll break the issues down for you. And when I return, I will share it with you who I have on Zoom as guest for discussion for today. Please stay just after this breather. All right, so welcome back. This is Pulse of the Week, the midweek edition here on NSG News from our Amahia Adenta Accra studios here in the Republic of Ghana. Wherever you are watching us from, we are grateful you are with us. My name is Kofi Asante Mensah. Now, let's go to our discussion lineup for today. We begin in the northern region where Burkina Faso commenced the spillage of the Bagri Dam. What does this mean for communities along the white and the black Volta, the impact it has created, and how prepared is Ghana to?
3 days back, I was in the house when TV3 called on me, and I met them. And actually, we went around advising people to harvest because the water, the Bagri Dam will be opening around 27.
You went around with Nadmo?
No, we went around alone first, but Nadmo also came yesterday to go around and see how. But earlier on, I've already gone around advising people to harvest their maize and whatever they have along the river banks.
The information reaching us is at 27th, but as we stand, the water is already flooding our farm, and we have to forcefully harvest our corn unripe, as you can see some of them. So we are just pleading on the government so that if they can come to the aid of all the farmers.
But every year round, the Bagri Dam gives us a lot of problems. Because if the government could come to our aid to build as the Talco multipurpose dam, as they were saying, I think it will help a lot.
The government should, as a matter of urgency, always inform the Burkinabe to split the water from June, July, then August, then they will have their level. But if they wait until it is August, that is the time we have the maize and the groundnut and the other crops getting ripe. But sometimes they are not yet ready unless September, middle of September and end of September. Therefore, when it comes, it has given force and pressure to everybody to harvest unripe.
Still in the northern region of the Republic of Ghana, about some 10 lives have been lost in the Bantan and Banyiri land disputes or land clashes in the Savannah region. The Inspector General of Police has paid a visit to the area. But is the violence a symptom or a deeper crisis of land governance and security in our republic? Let's move on to some more national security stories this evening as Ghana still mourns the tragic helicopter crash. Investigations are underway, but pressing questions remain. What are the findings so far? And does the incident expose broader gaps in aviation and national security protocols? And I might say the Aircraft Accident and Incident Investigation and Prevention Bureau, AIB, held a presser and a press conference or a media relation, and this is what they had to say.
And that is why most of the time we don't see any occurrences in Ghana. Thank you very much for coming, and my technical team are here. They may also add something. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen.
some questions. So you mention your name and then your organization. Then you proceed with your question. We don't have much time, so we do it. Yes, Mauli.
Good morning, my name is Mauli.
Mauli.
From Ghana Web. So yesterday there was a statement by the acting Minister of Defense. He cited the AI. If you can just briefly tell us what scope of the role you will play in that particular investigation.
Yes, so just like I said earlier, but let me quickly correct something here. Yeah, when they issued a statement yesterday, were described as as part of Ghana Civil Aviation. AIB, yes, we are also in the aviation industry, but we are an autonomous and independent organization. We are not part of Ghana Civil Aviation because we are to investigate what they do, and so we are an autonomous and a separate institution. Now, to answer your question, as I said earlier, we don't investigate military aircrafts. And this incident that happened, like I said, we will only do that when we have an approval by the sector minister. And so this particular one, AIB Ghana is part of the investigation because we've been allowed, we've been invited to use our expertise. And so I have, let me say, task my investigating team led by Captain Fojo, a very experienced retired pilot and a high level, very experienced engineer. They, Mr. Engineer Ewusi, they are part of the investigation, and so AIB is fully represented. Thank you.
My name is from Jeff. I have a couple of questions to ask. A follow-up to what my colleague asked. I think we wanted to find out the scope, what you will be doing to help in terms of the investigation, if there are specifics that you want to do. And also my second question got to do with the fact that we've seen a lot of accidents happening in the country. Aviation. The last time was in 2012 when an aircraft crashed or overshot the runway, killed a number of people. When this particular report is released, when investigations are done, how will the findings be implemented into tangible safety reforms, and what level of accountability should the public expect from authorities?
Thank you very much. Let me start from the second one. Like you said, when an accident occurs and we go ahead to do our investigations, after the investigation, we do recommendations, and these recommendations, as I said, are not to apportion blames or for any criminal liabilities. We do that so that we correct, so that we don't have any future occurrences, and that is why you don't often see aircraft accidents. They are flying every minute in Ghana, but because of the recommendations that we do, that is why they correct all the mistakes that might have happened. Then that is where we don't have the, we don't incur, or we don't happen to see more accidents happening. And so when we finish with our investigation and we give the recommendation, we follow up to make sure that they implement it. Because the reason why we do the investigation is to correct whatever might have happened. And so we follow religiously to make sure that these things are implemented for next safety. Then the other question is about the scope. Normally, investigation, you wouldn't, like I told you, we have our standards that we follow. And the protocols and the standard we follow, you know, we use them when we start the investigation. We will not be able to say, oh, we do this, we do this. So we are using those protocols and the standard to do the investigation. So we will not be able to tell you that this is the scope.
My second question also, I have about 3 questions, but if time permits, then I'll ask all. My second question got to do with the fact that even though the aircraft which was deployed, the Z9 that you've been invited to help with the investigation, it belongs to the Ghana Armed Forces and you don't have any oversight with regards to that. Do you think that there were some issues? I mean, based on your preliminary investigations, have you identified some factors that may have contributed to this? Because we've seen some journalists speculating, some even attributing it to the strike.
I like the word speculating. We are professionals. We don't speculate. What we do is that when there's an occurrence, we go to the field. We use evidence-based. Like I told you how we collect. We first collect the factual information. Based on that, we verify the data we have. And it is only after then that we will know what happened. And so we don't speculate. We don't know what happened. It is an accident. And so we go in as investigators to investigate and come out with a finding. But for now, we don't have any reason, or we don't have any information about what happened.
Have there ever been a time that when you want to implement some of the recommendations from various reports that you had issues with regards to our aviation sector in the country, maybe logistical issues or certain things prevented us from implementing certain policies?
No, we haven't had any.
Thank you. Any more?
My name is Josh Green. I work at TV3. So plans are far advanced in acquiring Ghana's national airline after several failed attempts. And if you're supposed to have a meeting with the task force, which has Dr. Joyce Mukhtar as one of the members, how will the conversation go like?
Yes, so if I got your question well, you want to know what? Come again with the question.
Okay, so plans are far advanced in,
Yes.
So there's a task force that has been instituted. Joyce Mukhtar is one of the members. I'm saying if you're supposed to have a meeting with the task force, what would the direction be like for your conversation?
For that one, respectfully, we have a very competent group that is tasked to do this job, and so they will do the job very well for us. We don't have any reason to doubt anything, so we think that they will do the job very well.
Because I'm asking this because I don't think we've ever had an accident.
Some more political stories this evening, because the by-election in Akwatia is almost here. In the eastern region, the Akwatia by-election is drawing near. The battle lines are being drawn, campaigns are heating up, and the stakes are high. Could this race be a litmus test for the bigger political contest ahead? But I ask, is this a litmus test for the John Dramani Mahama administration, the 8-month-old administration? Are we passing a test on him to find out if his governance has been good? So the people of Akwatia will do us the honors, or they are longing for the opposition New Patriotic Party to come back. So would this be a litmus test on John Dramani Mahama's governance, 8 months governance, or it is just a by-election? Still in politics, the 2026 NPP flag bearership battle is on. Today, we are looking at a critical look at what Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia has said in reply to Dr. Brian Echampon's comments relating to some ethnicity and religious bigotry. And we'll take a good look at that. Propaganda and divisive politics. And we'll look at that. Why we should have cohesion, even as party people aspire to lead the party as flag bearer. Why we should have cohesion and have issue-based politics or campaign. It will be a critical look. We'll take a critical look at that this evening. So let's watch how Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia replied, Dr. Brian Echampon. And if we have a chance, we'll look at Dr. Brian Echampon's further reply to Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia.
As we prepare to go into the primaries, I am very, very concerned and troubled that some of our presidential aspirants have embarked on a religious and tribal bigotry and propaganda against me in a desperate attempt to win votes. They totally ignore all the data and findings about why we lost the 2024 elections and want to mislead the delegates and the party with such propaganda. One such issue that has come up, and I think is important for all of us to know, is the Mamprosi-Kusasi conflict. An aspirant has said that delegates should not vote for me because I am a Mamprosi man, and that we will lose votes in the Kusasi areas and other areas. This is very unfortunate and demonstrates a complete lack of understanding of the situation on the ground. Ladies and gentlemen, since 1965, there have been 11 elections in Ghana. Since 1965. And the performance of the LPP in the 6, our tradition, in the 6 Boku zone seats, there are 6 seats in the Boku zone. If you look at it, the performance is as follows. In 1965, our tradition had 0 seats. At that time, I was only 2 years old. I had nothing to do with it. In 1969, we had 2 seats. In 1979, under Victor's leadership, we had 0 seats. In 1996, we had 0 seats in that area. In 2000, we had 1 seat. In 2004, under President Ford, we had 0 seats. 2008, we had 1 seat. 2012, under President Akufo-Addo, we had 0 seats. 2016, we had 2 seats. 2020, we had 1 seat. And 2024, we went back to 0 seats. What all the data is saying is that out of the 6 seats in the MPP, out of the 6 seats, the 11 elections, MPP has 0 in 6 of the 11 elections. So this is not an area that is a stronghold of the MPP. In fact, if you took the whole Boku zone, the 6 constituencies put together, we lost just 30,000 votes in 2024. So you can't lose, it is not the Boko election that made us lose 2024. And we need to be very clear about that, that the data shows that the Boko factor was not a factor in the outcome of the 2024 elections, that we should stop moving in that direction.
Right, so just after this breather, we'll go on Zoom and have a session with our special guest. Please stay right there with me. All right, so welcome back, and on Zoom we have our security expert, Mr. Irbad Ibrahim, joining us for some discussion on security relating to politics and relating to the clashes that happened in the Savannah region. But I would love Mr. Irbad Ibrahim to begin with, even though I didn't tell you before coming on air, relating to the Global Peace Index. Ghana is not faring well. We are 61st in the world and also 7th in sub-Saharan Africa. But when I take a little diagnosis into history, it tells us that around 2022, we were ranked 40th, and we keep dropping. What is causing all this drop, and what are the indicators for this very global peace index rank?
4 key reasons Ghana isn't doing too well on the Global Peace and Security Index. 1, political dramatization, vigilantism, attacks on journalists, as we've seen recently and in recent years. I think these are accumulation of problems we have had in the past few years or so. So I wouldn't lay the blame on one particular government, so to speak. So journalists should feel free to do their work. Reporters Without Borders, Amnesty International, and other groups expressing interest in some of the things that happen to you and your junior colleagues in your line of duty must have fed into our bad rating this time round. And it has been consistent, just as you've indicated in your preamble. Then there are a lot of unresolved murder cases in Ghana. So security goes hand in hand with justice delivery system. So where in Ghana, senior Kofi Asante, people keep saying the wheels of justice grind slowly, but ever too slowly in our case. And Major Mohammed's murder case largely unresolved, Fennec Ochery's case unresolved, former Upper Eastern Regional chairman of the MPP, Adams Mohammed's case unresolved. Recently, an immigration officer who was killed by his friend. The issues are still in court. A guy called Takum who shot a girlfriend, a former girlfriend, and killed her. All the issues unresolved. So you can't be the crown jewel of security and stability on the African continent if you have some of these lingering issues. And human rights violations, issues of Q nights, with all due respect to that brand, human trafficking, child labor, people brought into Ghana to do streetism. They are beggars on the streets. All of these brought together in one portmanteau would hurt us in terms of our rating in Senior Kofi Asante.
Thank you very much. I don't know if you can hear me now.
So with this, I don't know whether I can delve into the ethnic crisis in the Savannah region.
Absolutely. Please go ahead.
Thank you so much. Senior, I'm quite appalled as an observer and in some cases as a consultant who is directly involved in trying to resolve some of these security challenges we have in the Republic of Ghana with the incessant ethnic violence we are beginning to see. First, it was Dagon. Then Dagon was resolved as a result of the intervention of government and some eminent chiefs, including the Asante Hene. Then it shifted to Boko. Boko has been a lingering ethnic issue for so long, and I think we discussed it the other time, Senior. And now there is a new ground in the Savannah region, and a curfew has been imposed. While I was waiting for you to be on, Senior, I watched on television people that are displaced. NADMO is not well equipped. It is not resourced enough to provide relief items. Minister for Gender has had to be on the ground herself. And so I believe as a country, the time has come for us to equip the NCCE, the National Commission for Civic Education, which in the 90s when we were growing up during GBC days, was a bulwark of television, educating people on our multicultural dispensation, the need to ethnically harmonize and socialize, and joint games, joint derbies from across ethnic lines. But today, Kofi Asante, after your almost 20 years of journalism, we are at the nadir rather than the apex of the activism and advocacy of the NCC. Quite unfortunate. Politics and partisanship have taken front and center stage. So on television, it's all about pitting NDC against the NPP all the time, when in fact the NCCE, that is supposed to be patriotic, non-partisan, and non-aligned, should be the bulwark of the national discourse we are having. And so to resolve these ethnic issues, I believe that I wouldn't say we should go back to the PNDC and AFRC days. Far from that, Ghana has democratized. But let's pick the low-hanging fruits from the days of Jerry Rawlings, when partisanship did not really divide us. Today, flag bearers are contesting to lead, contenders are contesting to lead their parties as flag bearers, and the issue of ethnicity is front and center stage. When we are on campuses, Senior Kofi Asante, instead of seeing ourselves as one body of students, we have the Gomba Students Association, Ewe Students Association, and Zema Students Association, even though people's ethnic identity should be a part of their identity wherever they find themselves. But we are bringing segregation, we are blurring the lines of nationalism and asking people to be in ethnic silos rather than being universal citizens fighting for the good cause of the larger masses of the Republic of Ghana. So two quick fixes. I believe, Kofi, if we go through how long will the curfew last? Are we deploying the police? This has become too mundane. We've been doing it in Boko and hasn't resolved the issue. So let's now begin to look at medium to long-term solutions to the problem. And I believe, number one, as a quick fix, NCCE should be at the forefront of our national discourse. Number two, Kofi, it is important that we water down ethnic marginalization and ethnic entitlement in the Republic of Ghana. Look at the rhetoric on social media. Look at the things people write about other ethnic groups. To an extent, a convoy of the Asante went to Techiman, and some cars or buses within the convoy were attacked, actually. Look at the exchange between Domahine and Asante mine. So as a country, I think in the past decade or two, we've done too badly on putting the chieftaincy institution in shape, and what we are beginning to see are the unintended consequences and how badly we have done in that.
All right, so Mr. Irbad Ibrahim, let's find out how dangerous is this trend to our security and safety going forward as a country?
This trend, you couldn't have said it better. This trend is a dangerous trend. It opens a Pandora's box of uncertainties about our future. Dr. Kwame Nkrumah came up with the idea of the boarding system. I'm a Northerner born in the South. I'm a Muslim, and Kofi, you are a Christian. But when I went to Opokwari school, I hope you didn't go to Prempeh because you would have been my rival. You wouldn't have gone to a good school. But when I went to Opokwari school, that was the first time I shared the same space with people of other ethnic groups. I shared the same space with people of other religions. So look at our national psyche and national structure since independence. It's been all-inclusive, all-embracing of all ethnic groups and all religions. But gradually, there is a great deal of patronage. People get admission based upon their ethnic leanings. People get government jobs based on their names. We're even told, depending on which political party is in power, a Mauli stands a better chance of getting a job in an NDC government, and a Kofi like you would stand a better chance of getting a job in an MPP government. This may be speculative, but it is dangerous enough, and I believe it poses an existential threat to our safety, security, and the very fiber of who we are as Ghanaians, Kofi.
Right, so let me find out from you. Do you see commitment from the John Dramani Mahama's government to resolve this jaw-dropping security concerns?
I see there is some commitment from our new president, His Excellency John Dramani Mahama. Frankly speaking, he's an old wine in a new bottle, so to speak. And he had the opportunity while in opposition for 8 years to look at some of the lapses he had when he had his first shot at the presidency. Someone said he's the most prepared president we have had in recent history. And so, to be fair to him, I see some commitment on his part. But usually, security challenges always test the pulse of a new government. When you look at the past few elections we have had, in 2017, we saw the unique security challenges. In 2009, we saw the unique security challenges. In 2001, when Kofi came to power, we saw the unique security challenges. If there is any single security challenge, I believe it is not Galamsey. If there is any single major security challenge to His Excellency John Dramani Mahama, then it is not terrorism. The biggest security challenge he has had to inherit as a new president has been the, creeping ethnic imbalance, creeping ethnic armament. There is an ethnic arms race actually going on in the Republic of Ghana. There's an ethnic arms race going on. So it's more about how our concumbers stashing away guns in case there is a repeat of the Concomba Nanumba War. How are Mampuses stashing off weapons in case there is any conflagration with the Mampuses? how our Gonjas and other, tribes, our Bonos and how our Ashantis stockpiling weapons in case there's declaration of war. So just as on the international stage, a lot needed to be done to end the nuclear arms race. His Excellency John Dramani Mahama is inheriting an ethnically battered country, an ethnically divisive country, and a country that is on the precipice of ethnic armament. And I believe we should recalibrate our security response and make it the #1 security challenge we have as a country currently.
And also, let's talk about Akwetiaba election, where we have seen the police arrest some suspects, and the NPP organizing a press conference today indicating that the NDC want to use the national security to cause fear and panic and to deter and scare voters away from voting on the D-Day of the by-election. How do you see all these concerns?
On Akwetia Senior, I think Akwetia, we are only a week shy of the election, the by-election in Akwetia. And yesterday, there was a press release from the Ghana Police Service indicating that some 8 suspects had been duly processed and they posted bail of 80,000 Ghana cedis each. Politicians will always be politicians. On face value, I want to see this as a preemptive way of sending a signal that the excesses that happened in the capital of Accra at Ablekuma North will not be tolerated in Akwetia. I want to give them the benefit of the doubt. But beyond that, could this be a political gimmick? Because the rhetoric coming from the opposition MPP is that they don't have trust in the security arrangements that have been put in place. Some time ago, our police service had numbers, a numerical strength of anything between 40,000 and some change. And we are deploying 1/8 of that to a by-election. 5,000 of 40,000 is 1/8. How more expensive should by-elections be, Kofi Asante, before we do reforms? Left to me alone, Kofi. After Akwetia, we are going to Tamale Central. Only God knows between now and 2028 how many by-elections Ghana would have to go through. Why don't we come with an amendment of our electoral laws, where an MP becomes an MP on the ticket of either of the 2 political parties and is a stronghold of that party, and God forbid the person dies and there needs to be a replacement? Why do we repeat the campaigns, the expenditures, the stress of December 2024 only because a party has to replace an MP that has passed on? Can't we have a structure where, if it is Ayawaso West Wuogon, just as we lost, that is my constituency, I'm speaking to you from Ayawaso West Wuogon, where we lost our former MP, I saw the wanton display here at the constituency. We saw the violence at Bauleshi. And then recently we've seen Ablekuma North in Etiwa, in Cherponi. Historically, we've seen the cost of by-elections in life, in property, and in cash. As a country, can't we step back and say that our democracy is still young? Any party that loses an incumbent MP, there could be internal processes for the party to spawn another candidate that will straight away be sworn into parliament. Well, how do you take 5,000 police officers to carry out one by-election? They will eat food, they will take water, they will use vehicles, the vehicles will run on fuel. Party functionaries will travel there, people would have to spend on accommodation, people would have to give money to the electorate. If we are not talking about tens of millions of Ghana cedis, then we are looking at the lower end of millions of Ghana cedis to spend on a by-election. And in most cases, the outcome of the by-elections we conduct, the outcome is actually predictable. Because usually, we saw in the case of Honorable Jachi Kwesen, who suffered a dual citizenship challenge, it was obvious the seat was an NDC seat. But look at the tension that was created in Asante North. So my recommendation, Senior Kofi Asante, is that Ghana should look at amending our electoral laws. Many of the violence we have seen in our elections have actually taken place during by-elections rather than substantive elections in December themselves. People use by-elections as dress rehearsals to activate their vigilante sleeper cells. They use by-elections to do bravado. They use by-elections to create tension. They use by-elections to cause insecurity and instability. And I believe that as a security observer, if there is any recommendation we should take, then it should be that we can't be like the Americans. When a senator dies, there's a peaceful, process to choose another or elect another. When a House of Representative person dies, in Ghana, it's not the same. It's a life and death issue. It's a do or die affair. Some people from Iowa's West Walk-on, we are told, are still bedridden. They are maimed. That is the cost we have had to pay for by-election. So I believe, regardless of the security arrangement for Akwatia, I hope it will be a harbinger of better things to come, so that Tamale Central will be peaceful. And I believe going forward, the long-term solution is that we can ask political parties to replace their dead members in parliament rather than going through this whole cycle and circus of insecurity and instability in the name of by-elections.
Thank you very much, and we'd like to say a big thank you to our security expert, Irbad Ibrahim, for joining us this evening. God bless you. All right, so the report on the Ridge Hospital assault is due and has been submitted to the sector minister, the health minister, Kwekuminta Akando, and the committee went ahead to espouse some few findings. Let's take a good look at it. And the key thing is that Mr. What's his name? Mr. Producer, what was the guy's name? Ralph. Absolutely. The report indicates that he didn't assault anyone, and they have more in this very report. Please just have a look at what the leader of this committee, as presenting the report to the minister, said to the media.
Who is a rotation nurse, reported her injury to the hospital the day after the incident. That's on the 18th, and was further treated. There was no evidence of fracture on her left wrist or dislocation of her right shoulder joint as documented by the medical records. She was, however, had been treated at the time we visited. Had been given some pain relief. He has been recommended for a bed rest and also has received psychological support care. The third objective, the state of security at the hospital at the time of the incident. Honorable Minister, the committee finds out that the security at the emergency department was grossly inadequate at the time of the incident. The hospital security arrangement of one private security personnel per 12-hourly shift at the emergency is inadequate, considering the volume of human traffic at the Greater Accra Regional Hospital emergency. A police post that is found at the premise of the hospital, but situated far away from the emergency, is also of concern. And the system is that anytime they have such altercation, the hospital has to rely on Adabraka Police Command to call for help. And that's exactly what happened in this instance. The last but not the least objective was that the committee also found that the number of staff on duty per shift in the hospital was woefully inadequate. The number of medical officers in the month of August is 1 doctor per shift. That's 3 medical officers per day who are permanently working in emergency, supported by 1 specialist per day. Any other doctors who come there as a team to attend to cases and go away. A total of 7 medical officers and 2 specialists were available on duty for a month of August as emergency room permanent staff. We also found out that, for example, out of 88 nursing staff, who routinely work at the emergency department every month, only 54 are currently on duty at post, with about 34 of them already vacated posts for various reasons. This has brought extreme shortage in the number of nursing staff who also support the emergency medical doctors. Honorable Minister, apart from the four main things, there were other findings that we want to bring to your attention. The committee also visited the nurse in question, the rotation nurse, Ms. Chocho Rejoice, who was alleged to have been physically attacked and was receiving care at the hospital. When the committee visited, indeed, we saw the patient in bed. The document available to us from the medical record, as I already said, had no indication of fracture or dislocation of the said staff. And he has received some psychological support as well. The committee was able to chance on the specialist who also attended to her at the ward at the time we visited. And at that time, the staff had been discharged to go home and come for review. We also found that the emergency department of the hospital, Honorable Minister, is an extremely busy place with a lot of human traffic and clients seeking care at the same time. And almost 100% occupancy at all times. It means that every time the beds are almost all full at reach. It also received most of the trauma and acute referrals across the whole region, especially in the nearby areas where they don't have any medical facility, for example, La. And most of this traffic all flow to Reach as a primary source of care during emergency. The last observation was that Mr. Opon, who was alleged to have been knocked down and who was brought into the emergency, and that called for the rest of others coming in, has also been seen, treated and discharged at the hospital. At the time we visited, he was fully conscious. He communicated fluently to us and had no obvious challenge when we went there. However, they have diagnosed him as having a base of skull fracture and yet to come for review on OPD basis to be seen. Honorable Minister, when we met as a committee, we received in-person witnesses. One of the persons we invited is Mr. Ralph St. Williams to come and testify to the committee. He agreed to come, but on the day of our appointment, he called with the lawyer that he would love to make a statement for the committee to use instead of being there personally for his own personal reason. So the committee agreed to receive a statement and evidence from him and his lawyer. Honorable Minister, I must say that I have just a brief summary of what he presented. The exhibits are all attached as a full document for your review and understanding. From his statement copy that is attached to our report, the witness stressed that his distress and frustration was escalated by a nurse who made provocative remarks in the context of emergency, and this triggered his response. He also stated that at no point did he physically assault any medical staff or witness any person from among the bikers assaulting a hospital staff. He also made another assertion that no patient was intentionally filmed or videoed or targeted as his recording, because everything he did was targeted toward the delay, and that he thought the committee and any other person must have that urgent concern to see. And the last submission we've had from his 6-pager report, that he has submitted 4 video exhibits, including a Facebook live video, as evidence to assist the committee, and the committee actually gone through and you have given a report in your recommendation. So, Honorable Minister, permit me to just make 1 or 2 recommendations, and the rest are found in your full report. With respect to Greater Accra Regional Hospital Emergency Department, that is REACH Emergency Department, it's imperative that the following measures must be considered at the Honorable Office to, as a matter of urgency, to forestall any future recurrence. 1, we need to improve, there must be improvement in security presence at the emergency, the ambulance triage area, by adding at least 1 personnel more at the gate and ensuring that the gates at the ED are always manned by security personnel. Additionally, we also propose that the CCTV cameras around is very limited to some of the care areas. And so we propose that if it is not for any privacy, they should add on some more CCTV to give evidence, and also ensure that the staff will know that somebody is monitoring them in their work. Also, the police office present at the mortuary area, we propose that at least at the weekends or night duties, the police must be present to support the emergency security, to just back up the two private securities they have. Number two, Honorable Minister, we also recommend that you take immediate steps to support the recruitment of additional clinical staff. For Greater Accra Regional Hospital, we focus on staff who will support emergency care. The next recommendation was that you also address to restore the capacity of Greater Accra Regional Hospital in providing imaging services. For example, X-ray, CT scan, MRI, which are all 40 at the moment. And we believe that that is actually some of the gaps that is perceived to be delaying care at the emergency, even though doctors normally attend to clients on time. But the services for imaging is done outside. And then the fourth recommendation, Honorable Minister, was to appeal to your office to recruit additional administrative managers to serve as client service officers or customer care staff at the emergency department. We find that most of the time people come in there, but the customer care and client services is lacking. So people come in and get stranded, they don't know what to do. Whilst the emergency staff are also busily attending to patients. So we need to beef up the client service aspect of the emergency care. Other recommendations we added on, Honorable Minister, was to build human resource capacity for holistic emergency care in the country. This one goes beyond reach. And then when we are able to build that capacity for emergency care, it will minimize the rushing of people to the regional hospitals and then the pressure we are seeing now. We also recommend that we increase the number of secondary level facilities in every region. For example, Greater Accra may have 3 or 4 in addition to reach. And when these are done, it will also minimize the influx of emergencies all coming to reach, as we have been observing. We also recommend that we put measures in place to enable health facilities to acquire reasonably priced diagnostics or radiological equipment. That's what we call PPP arrangements, to facilitate timely patient care and reduce delays that needs referral to other places to have investigation. The last but not the least, Honorable Minister, the committee recommend that you provide avenue for continuous engagement and sensitization to the public. Many a time, the public doesn't know what the emergency even does or what we do in the hospitals. So when they find themselves in that environment, they most of the time don't understand the dynamics. So we believe that if you have any avenue to educate public on radio, on television, or the ministry, it will be an avenue to allay fears and also educate the public on what the safe people do. The last but not the least, we also want to look at the implementing agency, the Ghana Health Service, must immediately effect or support the nationwide emergency care. Their activity of building a customer care must be intensified, and then also ensure that health staffs actually adhere to the protocols of the profession. This will bring back the perceived loss of confidence the community may have in emergency services in the country. In conclusion, Honorable Minister, the above mentioned observations and recommendations may be addressed to prevent any such occurrences, as we have said, in our health facilities, Greater Accra region and Ghana at large. So the committee ended by saying that we support all the few things that we have proposed. There must be a training for security presence at all emergencies. Government or the ministry must address shortages of health staff, re-equipment, retooling of health facilities on diagnostic tools is very critical. And we believe that the committee is so grateful, Honorable Minister, for the opportunity given to us to serve. On that note, we want to say a very big thank you. And I have with me here the 48-pager report, 2 of them, and also a pen drive that has videos and audios and other CCTV images that we receive. And these documents are for your examination and then for as part of the things we have recommended to you. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Good.
Yeah, I'm so very grateful to the committee, Dr. Lawrence Ofori Bodu, for the wonderful work you've done so far, especially with this very short notice. You were given 1 week within which to submit your report, and you've done justice to that. We have done this because we assure the good people of this country that when the committee completes its work, we'll make the findings of the committee available to the public. At this point, we have done that, and I can assure the public that we'll see to the full implementation of the recommendations. And I can hear far-reaching recommendations even going beyond Rich Hospital. The next phase of the implementation of the recommendations, for me, is the most important stage. And so I can assure you that not only are we going to see to it that Rich takes back its glory, but we'll make sure that whatever work you have done will also have positive impact on the rest of the health facilities we have in this country. Most of the recommendations you have mentioned, as I've heard, I am now going to take my time. We'll have a committee in place, and then we'll digest it one after the other and see to the full implementation. But at a glance and on hearing you, most of them we have already started working on it, and people who have monitored the media space will attest to the fact that I've on several occasions mentioned PPP, retooling of our health facilities and all that. So it fits well into government priority areas, and that we'll continue to do whatever it takes to improve upon the health sector of this country. And I'm very sure that we may not be able to make it perfect, but we'll improve upon it. And we are not going to put this report or recommendations on the shelves. Immediately, we are going to start implementing them. I thank you for the opportunity. Yeah.
Thank you very much. I'm not sure you have any questions to ask. I'm sure this is straightforward.
Of course, you thought related to the
Thank you very much. I'm sure you were in church on Sunday.
No, just one.
Please go ahead.
So with the observation, Dr. Kofi made mention that you found out that there was no delay at the plate. However, the one who was seen in the viral video is saying that there was a delay, and that was why he acted that way. I want to find out, is there going to be any arrests?
No, please. This is a fact-finding committee. They are not to prosecute. They are not to judge. They have presented their report. It's a fact-finding report that anybody can make good use of their report. And so, with the greatest of respect, let us not go into the criminal issue of the matter. That was not within their jurisdiction.
This was directed to the ministry, but I get it.
Yes. So please, I beg you, before we veer into any other determination. Yes.
Okay. Please, let's take Sarah.
Okay, since this is a document and the case is also pending in court, is it possible that it could be tendered in as evidence?
As and when they request for it. Okay. If nobody requests, it's our property. Okay. We cannot rush to the court and say that we have brought you evidence. Okay. If the court requests for it, who are we to refuse the court? So please.
City?
Yes, thank you, Honorable Minister. Some of the recommendations sounded quite pressing in terms of beefing up security in emergency centers and all. I'm going to give a time frame that probably the next week or two.
As for time frame of starting work on it, I can give you. But as to the completion of when that will be finally completed, that will be another thing. As for especially the emergency issue of our security, I can assure you today is what? Wednesday. By Monday. I mean, from here, I'm just going to give instructions for some of these things to be. In fact, the truth of the matter is that the very day we visited the hospital, which of course I was accused of greeting somebody, that very day I gave that instruction that they should look at the internal security. And I had the opportunity to also speak to the police. So some of these things have already started and they are in motion. Yeah. So I just want to give the public that confidence, that impression that, oh, even if a committee is established, that's all. Only the announcement of the committee is what we hear. We don't hear the findings. Nothing happens to it. That's not going to be business as usual. In fact, I will also challenge you that whatever recommendation that has come, you also follow up to see that whether or not it's been implemented. I will challenge you to also do that.
Honorable, talking about challenging us to follow up, will you make some sections of the documents available to the
as and when necessary? As and when necessary.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen. We are grateful. Please carry the news out. Thank you.
So this has absolutely nothing to do with the criminal issue or the case in court. And we never try to comment on any case in court or any criminal proceedings. This has no bearing, absolutely nothing. This is to guide us as a ministry. So the most important thing is to help us to improve upon the system. That is the most important thing. Yes.
All right, so on behalf of my able production team here in Accra, Ghana, and on NSG News, Pulse of the Week, Midweek Edition, my name is Kofi Asante Mensah. This has been Pulse of the Week. We brought you stories relating to security, aviation, investigation, political stories, health stories, and this has been our show for today. Catch us same time on Friday. Have a blessed evening.